Fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. As you might know, I'm a huge fan of the Prestige 98 square inch from 2019. It was then called Prestige MP, and that's still my favorite, one of my favorite recent rackets of the last 10-15 years. This one is the Prestige Pro. It's the same mold, but it has Auxetic, and this is the updated Auxetic, which is more Auxetic, Auxetic 2.0. However, to add an extra twist to this is the 2023 Auxetic Prestige Pro, but it is a 1619 pattern. Currently only available from Tennis Warehouse Europe as far as I've seen. I've not seen it on Tennis Warehouse US. So I hope you guys get access to it. The Prestige Pro 1619, which was previously only available to pros. So pros could get a different string pattern on molds. As you know, Head gives many options of rackets, and that gives even more options than to the pros. So they can have different layups, what's inside the racket, the feeling, and also string patterns and so on. This one is something I've been thinking about a long time. I want a 1619 Prestige Pro. I had a Pro stock version of the Prestige MP 2019, which I liked a lot. It was slightly extended though, so that was my main gripe with that one, as I play with standard length. With this one, it's finally available to the average consumer. I've tried it with the Head Lynx setup it comes in. I've tried it with a funky Tourline combo, which is Caviar and I think Enso Pro, or their prototype, not quite sure, 2 polys. If you want to try a cool poly hybrid, check out the Tourline Omakase program, which I helped out with. I'll put the link in the description so you can check that out. I also tried it with Power crosses, but I had a multi-filament called Gold from String Project in the main. So I tried a few different setups. I wanted to see what works the best with this racket. I tried also adding weight. This is actually Henrik's rackets that I traded with him. He had some weight at 3 and 9. I've tried it with weight at 12 as well. I do still struggle with the Prestige Pro, which is a shame. It's maybe more up to me. I've had these discussions on my Patreon with guys like John, for example, who feels like they get a bit more power with the Prestige Pro. It's a bit more stable thanks to the Auxetic engineering material in there. But for me, maybe it's muscle memory, but I still want to go back to the Prestige MP 2019 because I'm more connected to the ball, which is something reviewers talk about a lot, but I think it's quite important for most players. Sometimes you pick up a racket and you feel, I know where the ball is going, and that's a great feeling. Then it might not always help you get the ball there because it is demanding, and that's also the case with this racket. It's still demanding, even with an open pattern. So don't expect that the open pattern will now give you like a Alcaraz style launch. It's not an extreme, it's not a arrow, it's not a spin racket of any means. It's still a control racket which has a bit more lift and a bit more depth. Fans of the old PT57A, you know that Andy played with the 1619 version. Now he's with Yonex ESON 100, as you know, and he played with the 1619 to have a bit more free depth and a bit more launch. Sometimes on grass he went back to the 1820, but overall most of his career was with the 1619. This is also something you can bring to this one. It's a very small difference between the regular 1820 and the 1619. I've tried them side by side with similar string setups, and it's not like super noticeable. It's a little bit noticeable. Some will prefer the 1820 because it's a bit more precise. I would say that is a little bit more precise. However, you do hit the tape more often with the 1820. Like with the same shot, this will put the ball a little bit higher, just a tad higher, which gives you a bit more net clearance, which with these type of control rackets can be a problem. Like when you're trying to create you hit a passing shot, you're trying to hit like a low margin shot, and then a low margin shot, you're working with the millimeters, right? So then the open pattern will have a little bit more launch. This can also backfire, of course, because the ball might go a little bit higher, sail a little bit longer. This is still a precision instrument, right? It's not a power spin. Doesn't change the nature of the frame. It's still a Prestige. Prestiges are beautiful in many ways because they give you that precision and control and confidence, but they don't give you anything for free. You need to bring everything here. I gave this to Leah, who's not really played a Prestige. She's a Blade 104 user, and she did not like it at all. And Henrik was not a fan either, but these are not Prestige players. So if you give it to someone who's a Prestige player, who likes a Prestige but wants just a tad more, I think the 1619 pattern is a good option. It's still a very nice control racket, pinpoint precision pretty much, but just a bit more compared to the 1820. I would have liked to try this kind of Oxetic Prestige Pro with maybe a little bit of a stiffer layup or something, because I feel like I don't quite feel the ball with this Oxetic version. This goes for 1820 and 1619 compared to the red one. And that is bothering me, because that's the main thing I want with this frame. I really want to know where the ball is going, and sometimes I struggle with this. The 1619 did add a little bit of a percentage of unpredictability to add to that, so I wasn't a huge fan personally. I can see why it's better for some players to have a more open pattern in this super control racket. I think this type of racket nowadays, which is a stunning racket by the way, is mostly for pros, like or aspiring pros, players that have like old school games, also like players who are club players and they don't think about power, they don't feel like they need power. And then this frame is fantastic. It does need some more weight in my opinion, because these type of control rackets, they do shine, and you see that with the pros. Like if they play a racket like this, they add a bunch of weight to add the swing weight up, because if you have a low swing weight, it's not what the racket is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be played with a low swing weight. Low swing weights are fine in power rackets, where you get more from the frame, from the stiffness, from the thickness of the beam and so on. Still not a huge fan of the Prestige Pro. I'm sad to say. It's a good racket. For me personally, it's not a winner in terms of feel compared to the red one, which remains my favorite. And it has that old school Prestige feel, which I think this one lacks. I did hit with a guy who is a Prestige fan, Steven, who comes to Marbella from time to time. He loves old Prestiges, PT57As, and he loves this frame. I don't think he's tried the 1619, but he does love it, so this could be my specific personal take. I do like all those 98s, Extreme Tour, Radical MP, and Boom Pro, all the 1619 98s. Nowadays, most players can get more from the frame, and most of us need it and play better tennis. And let me know in the comments if you're a Prestige fan and if you've tried these, or if a 1619 sounds like music to your ears. That's it for today. Have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.